The Subaru Legacy has always been a great car, but it's also always been an underdog in the midsize segment. So for 2010, Subaru really needed to address these issues if it really wanted to grow in the midsize market. First off, you'll notice it is bigger. And not only is it bigger, but look at these wheel arches. We have this little wing design, which is, of course, hearkening to Fuji's aerospace experience, but they've added these little edge pieces, which actually, I think it looks a little Voltron-esque. Headlights here, I don't know what we're gonna call them. What should we call these? Shark eye. We could call this shark eye, I like it. I now call these shark eyes. Inside, we have much more luxurious materials. They still have their kind of pseudo-tacky wood trim, but it has improved a little bit. This model, fully decked out, is just above 30 grand, and this is the 3.6R. Now, their other performance option is a 2.5 GT, which is very similar, but it has a 2.5 liter and a turbo. Something you'll also notice in here, check that out, that's a 6-speed. The 2.5 GT is now only available with a 6-speed. This isn't the same 6-speed, though, that was actually in the Spec B. The Spec B had a variation of the STI's system, just minus the DCCD. This is actually a redesign of the 5-speed transmission. Now, I used to own a 2007 Legacy GT, and I modified that baby till it had 320 wheel horsepower. Check it out, we have hood pistons. Now, this is the turbo, right? So come here, look over here. See what you see down there? What do you see? Nothing. So the turbo is actually under here. In fact, if you want to swap the turbo out, you have to raise the car and take off the exhaust manifold. The reason for doing this is because they wanted to have a much quicker spool up, and apparently it works. Let's take them for a drive. First up, the Turbo 2.5 GT. Now immediately I noticed that this car has a lot quicker turbo response. The tuning market, it's going to be complicated. There's been enough changes to the vehicle that require significant R&D to be able to produce tuner parts. So if you're into the tuning market, it still is a much better idea to buy an 07 or an 08 or an 09 as opposed to this model, because it could be a good year or 2 years before we see any tuner parts. Now that we've driven this car, let's take a look at the next step up, the 6-cylinder 3.6R. This is Subaru's top of the range, and really it looks quite good. It's a very sophisticated interior with a very simple angular design. Now, historically, Subaru has had this simulated metal looking plastic that they've put around their gear shifters and on the center stack, and now it's this fine brushed material that not only diffuses light but also eliminates, scratches aren't going to stick out quite so much, and it's a very nice look. The nav system is very large, very readable, has a lot of great features. It has voice pilot, so if you want to find Chinese food, it will find it. You have the option for Bluetooth audio streaming, which is really great if you have like one of the new iPhones or even one of the Android phones, the Google phone. That one also allows you to stream audio directly to the headset without a physical plug. But it also has a backup camera finally, which puts Subaru in much stronger contention in the upper end of the midsize segment. Now is the only transmission that you can get with the 3.6R, which is the 6-speed automatic. Now, it also has a manual paddle shifters, which are all the rage these days. Everybody has to have that. And let's go ahead and take it for a drive and see what it can do. If you look at other cars in this range, like the Nissan, which are granted more expensive, but when you put a 6-cylinder in a sports sedan, a lot of them are putting out near 300 horsepower. And I think if you had an engine like this with 300 horsepower, it would be a much stronger contender in the space. In fact, it would probably dominate the space. It still has a pretty good flat torque curve, but it just doesn't feel faster. So I think that today the only reason they still offer the 6 and why they are so pinned to the 6 is so that people who buy based on checkboxes have it as an option. doesn't feel like a Subaru. It doesn't have, you're not making the compromises that you historically had to make to buy a Legacy. You don't have to go, well, you know, the back seat is good enough. The trunk space, it's good enough. Now, they've answered all the demands with a great car. So did Subaru do it? Did they redefine the midsize market with a car that is going to transform the way people drive? No, they didn't. They did, however, create a decent midsize car that checks every single little wish list item that somebody would really look for in this space. They have economy, they have performance, they have a good sporty feel and quality workmanship. Overall, this car is a big improvement over the last one. Whether or not that translates into sales, time will tell. But this enthusiast is impressed.